Hello and welcome to another edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Right off the bat on the old show today, well, BMW is actually going to become, supposedly, one of the world's biggest manufacturers of carbon fiber. Actually, with a group that they've hooked up with, which is SGL, and they're a group out of Washington State in the United States. And BMW is going to throw $200 million at this particular project to build carbon fiber for their various vehicles. And you won't believe some of these numbers. In fact, by the year of 2015, they'll hopefully have the plant up and going, at least as far as the improvements are concerned, to be able to manufacture carbon fiber a lot more efficiently. They're planning on being able, and they say they'll have the capacity to make 9,000 tons of carbon fiber, which when you really think about how lightweight carbon fiber is, that's a lot of carbon. It's going to be very, very interesting, and they will, if this deal comes together like they're hoping, will become the largest manufacturers of carbon on the planet. So, pretty impressive deal, and they're going to filter down a lot of carbon fiber parts, not only from the i8 and the i3 models, but throughout their lineup. So, pretty big deal when it comes to the folks over at BMW. Next up on the list, well, the wraps are officially been taken off the brand new 370Z Nismo edition. Now, the all-new Nismo edition from the speed factory that is Nismo, it gets a lot of upgrades, including, this is probably one of the most beautiful Nismo vehicles that I've ever laid eyes on, at least as far as the 350 and the 370 lineup's concerned. A little bit more understated. That great big long nose and the big tail is gone out of that particular lineup as far as the last edition of this vehicle. But it gets a lot of suspension upgrades, braking upgrades, a lot of good stuff like that. As far as the interior, as far as the actual power plant is concerned, the vehicle does remain the same. Now, one of the biggest things are, look at the rear end of this vehicle. It gets a little ducktail spoiler, much like the old Porsche 911s did back in the day. But back to the power plant, now it does come with the standard 3.7 liter, normally aspirated V6, putting out 350 brake horsepower and 276 pounds-feet of torque. Now you can either shift this through a 6-speed manual transmission, or for the very first time, a 7-speed automatic transmission. Yes, the Nismo lineup, especially in this lineup of automobiles, have never been available in an automatic setup. So an automatic 7-speed dual-clutch transmission would be quite happily put into the lineup. May make a lot of folks happy when it comes to that particular situation. Now, the vehicle can go 0 to 60 in 5 seconds with a top speed of 155 miles an hour. No talk on pricing, at least for the brand new Nismo model, or how soon it may land on U.S. shores, so we'll keep you tuned on that particular situation. Next up on the list, the Scion FRS and GT86 from Toyota are going to get some upgrades for the 2015 model year, including a brand new dash setup with a lot of carbon fiber accents, brand new automatic on-off lighting system, but in the heart of the beast, the same flat 2-liter 4-cylinder is going to be the case, but a lot of suspension upgrades when it comes to this vehicle. Big upgrades in the front suspension to get a lot more stiffer response to those. Also, the rear suspension gets a little bit of an upgrade, especially to keep a lot of the roll out of the chassis. The vehicle had a lot of lean when it got into some of the corners. Now, this vehicle will be going on sale for the 2015 model season very, very soon, with a starting price of just over $26,000 US for the manual transmission and just under $27,000 for the automatic. Fantastic piece of kit from the folks over at Scion. Be exciting to see this brand new car in the showroom. You won't see a whole lot of outer details other than the upper antenna that came up over the rear glass is gone with a little shark fin, and it does get brand new set of rear tailpipes that are sticking up out of the vehicle, and it does look a little bit more attractive, at least in the rear end as far as that's concerned. But this vehicle will be at your Scion dealership very, very soon. And last up on the list is a picture of Sam Schmidt, Sam Schmidt, well over 10 years ago, was involved in a horrific IndyCar testing crash that actually paralyzed him from the neck down. Now, Mr. Schmidt has stayed involved in the racing effort, actually hooked up with another fellow, and they're running a race team together. In fact, just the week before the taping of this particular program, actually won a very big race, the first ever Grand Prix race at the old Grand Prix circuit in Indianapolis in several years, since Formula One actually raced on that particular circuit. Sam Schmidt's team actually ended up winning that race with Simon Pagenaud behind the wheel. But behind the scenes, Sam has been working quite heavily on not only someday hopefully being able to walk again, as his young daughter was only a handful of years old when the actual incident happened. She's now 16 now, and he has a promise to her that he's going to walk her down the aisle when she gets married. So, very ambitious program. He's working with a lot of folks to raise funds to try to fix paralysis in a lot of folks around the world. And one of the things to get people up and going, he's actually been working with a lot of partnerships and behind the scenes and to develop this brand new C7 Corvette, which he has now driven. Actually, the first part of April he's now driven, and actually the weekend of the taping of this particular program actually made 4 laps in qualifying for the Indianapolis 500. Obviously way off the pace because he's not running an IndyCar, running this particular Chevrolet Corvette. Interesting situation on how this deal works, and the diagram shows you a little bit. You see a lot of the blue parts, which actually a lot of sensors are hooked up, or sensor that actually reads the censorship, actually put up on the windscreen of the vehicle. You actually wear a ball cap with a lot of sensors on it that detects and the sensors can actually put up movement. So when you lean your head from side to side, it allows the steering wheel to actually move in that particular situation as well. Not to mention when you lean back with your head, that activates the throttle position of the vehicle. And then there's a small piece that you actually have in your mouth that you can bite down on, and that actually operates the brakes. The first ever test that actually took place in April was a roaring success after a bunch of testing, and the actual setup that he did over the weekend at the Indianapolis 500 showed even more promise how this could be a possibility where paralyzed folks may possibly be able to drive again. Very fantastic little situation. I actually had absolutely no idea this deal was going on. And it's very encouraging for what autonomous technology is going to bring to life for a lot of folks around the world who may have not been able to drive a vehicle for some time. And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. If you want to jump on over to the Facebook page, the link's down in the show notes. Also, if you want to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time and get the first dibs on the brand new shows as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again real soon.